talking? Well, today, the ministry has directed that our children will be going back to school. And the question that we have been asking, and it's all over the news, is that are parents ready to release their children back to school despite the fact that we still have cases of COVID-19? And also talking of the financial preparedness of our parents. So I would like to know from you, are you ready to send your children back to school? Because the ministry says they will be reopening schools very, very soon. Talk to us as we listen and as we look at some of the stories that are making headline. And now we're starting off with the TSC that has directed teachers to return to school by Monday next week. Teacher Service Commission CEO Nancy Macharia made the announcement earlier today following a meeting amongst stakeholders of the Kenya Institution of Curriculum Development to map out reopening of learning institutions. Education CS Professor George Magoha said it may be important to have some classes outside to avert the spread of the new coronavirus. The Education Ministry further said teachers will be guided on how to finish the syllabus before the national examinations that are slated for April next year. And under the new recommendations, the second term, which was disrupted by the pandemic, will begin in October and end in November, while the third term will kick off in January through to March next year. Macharia said teachers will ensure that learners recover the lost time. Magoha gave a go-ahead to final year students in universities and taking courses that require physical engagement to report back to their respective schools. And the students will be required to observe guidelines put in place to stem the spread of the coronavirus. The government, through the President Uhuru Kenyatta, closed all schools after the outbreak of coronavirus in March this year.
Private schools were to open on their own, they would have opened earlier. But it is because His Excellency the President loves the poor children. He said they must open together. So as we have said, they can start reporting from today. Go around and you'll find quite a number of them will have their teachers at school. But we have not said schools are opening. I am sure some of the headlines will say that schools are opening now. Yeah, but the date you chose is a wrong date. Whoever gave you the information is speculative. We shall give you dates after appropriate government machinery has gone through. I think it is about time to call our children back to school.
And we are therefore now asking our teachers to report back to schools on Monday, the 28th of September, to prepare for the eventual opening of schools. So our teachers can report any day between now and the 28th of September to be in schools and prepare the schools for the eventual opening.
Day schools are also free, in case you don't know. The boarding schools, the tuition part of the boarding school is also free. So the only fee that the parents pay is what the children consume in the house. Are we together here? And my teachers are not animals. They are ready to listen to those parents, as His Excellency the President has directed, that we should treat every case as it comes.
There we have it from the Ministry of Education. And remember, the ministry represents the government. Brings us to the question that we are asking today. Are you ready to send your children back to school with the new directives that have been given by the Ministry of Education? Are you ready to send your children back to school? 0786316316. That is on WhatsApp, SMS line 20316. Well, Kenyatta National Hospital workers have issued a one-week strike notice, citing failure by the Salaries and Remuneration Commission, that is the SRC, to implement the 2012 salary review. In a letter addressed to the Labour Secretary, Cabinet Secretary and KNH CEO, the health workers threatened to down their tools come Monday next week. And the statement that was signed by the Kenya National Union of Nurses and the Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union and the Kenya Union of Domestic Hotels, Education Institutions, Hospitals and Allied Workers, that is GUDEHA representatives. They demanded that the implementation of the salary review be done within the next 7 days.
Now, let it be known, Dr. Thuranira Kaugiria, I'm just from the streets in Nairobi City County Government. I'm back to the streets again with Kenyatta National Hospital. Let it be known, we are going on strike because of SRC. Yes. Na tutagoma. Yes. Semeni mutagoma. Tutagoma. Semeni tena tutagoma. Tutagoma. Tutagoma tena. We have no problem with Kenyatta National Hospital. Them, they have money. Yes. We have no problem with Ministry of Health. They have given us money. Yes. We have no problem with Treasury. They have given us money. Yes. We have a problem with SRC. Yes. SRC is writing some funny love letters here saying we cannot be paid. Semeni tumekataa. Tumekataa. And Gitao must go. SRC must go. SRC must go. SRC must go. Sisi tutagoma tarehe 28. Na tutagoma sana. If by Friday they have not given us a letter approving the payment of those salaries, we shall go to the streets. Na tutaenda pale George Williamson's house and we will sing and we shall scream and we shall chase them away. Wakuje wafanye kazi Kenyatta National Hospital.
Well, another crisis looming there when we talk of our health sector. And now Kenya today has recorded 98 new cases of COVID-19 from a sample size of 1,644 that were tested in the last 24 hours. And that brings the total number of confirmed cases to 37,079. So far, Kenya has tested 518,350 samples since the month of March when the first case was reported. And the Health Ministry CAS Dr. Rashid Aman in a statement today said that all the cases are from Kenyans except for 2 foreigners, and 98 cases are made up of 63 male and 35 female, the youngest being a 9-year-old child, while the oldest is a 75-year-old person. Well, Dr. Aman also announced that 62 more recoveries were recorded, while 2 more patients succumbed to COVID-19.
Turning now to our COVID-19 situation. Today, 98 people have tested positive after testing a sample size of 1,644 over the last 24 hours. This brings our total number of positives in the country to 37,079, and our cumulative number of tests that we have conducted to 518,350. From today's 98 cases, 96 are Kenyans and 2 are foreigners. 63 are male, 35 are female. The youngest is 9-year-old, the oldest is 75. On a positive note, 62 people have recovered from the disease, 44 from home-based care program, and 18 have been discharged from various hospitals where they were being cared for. The total recoveries now stand at 23,949. And once again, we take this opportunity to thank our healthcare workers for their diligent and dedicated work and service to duty. Unfortunately, we have also lost 2 patients to the disease, bringing the total fatality to 650. Our sincere condolences to the families and friends of those who have lost their loved ones.
Well, still in matters COVID-19, the President Uhuru Kenyatta has extended the COVID-19 containment measures that was supposed to lapse on Thursday, the 24th, all the way to September the 29th, and he says it's pending reviewed protocols. In a statement from the head of Public Service, Joseph Kinyua, today stated that the President will first hold a national conference on the COVID-19 pandemic on September 28th, after which he will unveil the containment measures and shall guide guide Kenyans into a new normal. Well, the conference will review the national and county COVID-19 response and will feature stakeholders from the entire spectrum of the country. Well, that is news that is just coming in. The containment measures have been postponed from the 24th of September, when they were supposed to lapse, all the way to 29th of September. So usipatikane nje during this time. Curfew is still on until the president gives new directives on the 29th of September. The question that we're asking today: are you ready to send your children back to school according to the directives of the Ministry of Education? Are you ready to send your children back to school? Send in your responses. Sami Wanakuru, thank you so much for tuning in. And you're saying you're watching online. There's no need of reopening schools. Wangoje hadi January so that all the students can go back together. For now, universities and colleges can open, but high school and primary schools can wait up to January to start afresh. Hakuna haja ya stress mingi, no hurry. The CS should relax. Sami wa Kisumu, thank you for that response. Judy, asante for tuning in today and for sending in your message. I also have someone here who texted in and said, no, because it will increase the cases of COVID-19 in schools. You did not give me your name, but thank you for that response. Hi, Family Radio. Meshak tuned in from Kisumu. The show is amazing. Asante sana. Your name is Evans Ragira, tuned in from Machakos. Asante sana for tuning in today. And you're saying Salimia sana, the dedicated fans of Family Media. Thank you so much for that. Well, send in your responses on the question that we are asking today. Are you ready to send your children back to school now that the Ministry of Education has given a new directive? Are you ready to send your children back to school? Now, parents across the country have grown anxious, fearing the increased charges after COVID-19 Education Response Committee settled October as the school reopening date. Several parents have feared that fee charges would be increasing in public and private schools, as parents will be required to add face masks as well as hand sanitizers to their children's budget. The government, which vowed to distribute 2 masks per learners, pledged the charge per mask at 35 Kenya shillings, money parents would be expected to pay. The parents cited hardship from the toughened economy as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic that saw them deplete their savings, as some got laid off from their jobs. They also claimed that the timing was not favorable, arguing that October was so close and gave them a very small window to prepare financially as well as psychologically.
Watatusomesha watoto juu saizi hatuna pesa. Tumefungiwa, hata kukula ni shida, nyumba kulipa ni shida. Sasa tuko hivi.
Upande wa ile school fees, ile ilikuwa pale watoto walikuwa wameachia. Sasa hapo napo wasisi wazazi tuweze kuelezewa malipo itakuwa namna gani by next year.
Tumezoea mpaka Januari, sababu pesa ya kupeleka watoto shule kwa saa hii hatuna. Labda watuambie kama watatupatia hiyo miezi free kuanzia saa hii mpaka Januari, ni sawa, tutakubali.
Watoto wakati watarudi kwa shule, wale watoto kwanza wa private itabidi tuwapeleke public, na wale watoto walikuwa public obviously hata wao wenyewe wakuwa wanatoshia kwa madarasa, wataenda wapi? Na wanasema iwe na space, darasa moja iwe na handle watoto 25.
Wanasema wanataka kutuletea madawati. Hizo madawati zitaingia wapi? Sababu shule darasa ni zile zile. Hawajaweka darasa zingine zenye wataleta hizo madawati. Na watoto ni wengi. Kwa hivyo hii COVID wataabukishana.
Well, that is the plea of many parents across the country. And earlier on, I had a discussion with one parent association representative, and that is the Nakuru regional chairperson. His name is Mr. Eskimo Kobia. And I started off by asking him whether we are ready. And this is what he had to say.
When we are talking about the schools, we must be specific, because there are categories of the schools. Let's talk about the institutions from higher learning up to Chekechea.
Yes.
And then we look the impact on which schools should we start with, and which areas do we look at concerning the infrastructure and the readiness of the teachers who are now we are going to give our students or pupils in this time of the COVID-19.
Yeah.
So to me, when we talk about the reopening, do we have sensitization of the parents? Have they sensitized the parents? Or they are just talking on the newspaper and the media, like the way now we are talking? How many parents have access to newspaper? How many parents are able to see the TV, like in Turkana and other areas, and they have also the students, and also they are waiting for the same reopening of the school. So when we are looking about the categories of the schools, let's talk about the university level, technical schools, and then now we come to secondary schools, and then now we go to primary level, so that we can see if now we are going to talk about reopening. Our government, the way they are given the guideline, been able to do their work, or they are just saying let it reopen the schools. To me, I'm on the ground in Naivasha and in Nakuru County. I've visited the schools, and I've seen how they are in terms of the infrastructure and the guideline, even the distancing itself, and the number of the pupils which we are in primary schools and also in secondary school is a chaotic, madam. When we talk about the reopening of the schools, I don't know which class can we open, because even 300 class students in primary school can be able to occupy all the classes when it comes to distancing, which is a requirement for the government. So I think we can now, if we want to discuss about reopening to us, I've talked to some of the parents, because I don't come here and just present parents. I just go and intermingle from the teacher level, because I'm a professional, one thing, madam.
Yes.
I just present Universal Professional Association. So when I'm given an interview like this one, I usually consult and don't just come and then start discussing my own needs. It is something that I can be able to go and substantiate and see this is what the parents are saying, these are what the professionals are saying, who are from what.
All right. So basically what I'm getting from what you're saying is that the government and the ministry need to consult and even sensitize the teachers and the parents and even the pupils themselves. But when it comes to parents, school fees, do you think parents are basically ready when it comes to money-wise? Are we ready and financially prepared to have our children back to school as soon as next week or even next month?
I think when it comes to financial issues, we had a COVID, which is a disease by itself, which has affected all the business across the road.
Yeah.
If we look in Naivasha, let's say in flower industry, all the people who are working there, they were restructured. Some of them decided to go to the rural areas. You saw how the migration was.
Yes. Yes.
Then when we come to about finances, everybody was prepared psychologically, as we talked for now, including myself, and even the pupils and all students. We are opening the schools
in
by
January. Yes.
So anybody I've talked to, they are saying this is an impromptu tool whereby the government wants the school to be opened. I don't know what is their interest, according to me, because if we open now and then the term starts maybe by October, the way they are saying, and the way we have seen in the news, in newspaper, I don't know where the term will be heading and how prepared the parents. When it comes to finances, I'm sorry to tell you, including myself, I have not received anything. Is there anybody can save money by now? The businesses are down. People we are giving services, they are not paying. I'm told you what I'm offering. Government itself, they have not paid for 6 months down the line. And you want me now as a business person or as a parent, now I bring the child to the school, and you know the demands of the teacher. I know also, you know, in private schools, some of them, they were closed. Then we come to transfers, finances, where do we get these finances? So the parents are complaining about, they used all the money, but psychologically they are preparing themselves after January. I'm very sure every parent was focused on January. I will have saved this amount of money, and now my child or my people will join on January 2021. That's not the challenge that we have with most of the parents on finances. No, we don't have the finances. But if the government is supposed to give free education for that duration, we are not saying we cannot take the children there. Despite you are talking about the flattening of the COVID-2019, we don't know how sure it has flattened, because now you cannot tell me to take a child of maybe Kichekeshea to to school where she doesn't even understand or he doesn't understand about distancing, even how to wash the hands and all those things. Second, when we go to the schools, like public schools, we have a school here with 3,000 Milimani primary school.
Okay.
How do we make sure that school, are we going to have maybe the tents so that you can have that distance? That is the worry with parents, and that is the worry in the whole country, how we are going to prepare ourselves when it comes to maybe the distance infrastructure. The infrastructures, don't be told they are not in place.
Yeah.
Even the tanks you are told they are not there.
I get your point, Mr. Kobia. And there's one thing that you have said, that parents right now basically are not prepared financially. But you have pointed out something that is a proposition, and just maybe if the government decides to do this, let's say just offer free education. But I want us to look at the fee structure. Do you think, despite the time that people are going back, whether it's next week, whether next year, January, do you think the fee structures in different kind of schools should be relooked into because of the financial state in our families and also the economic state in our country?
When we are looking about the fee structures, it differs from the school to school, from national, county level, and also to the sub-county level.
Yeah.
So like now, when we look at somebody is taking a child to a national school, where now, like now I understand them saying that now the parents should go back to their pocket and increase before the COVID came.
Yes.
Because they are not able to sustain. Now, if we say now we want those children to go back to the school, and then these schools, these county schools and the national schools, they need money. The government cannot be able, they give only 12,000, free education. They say it is not a free education, my dear.
Yeah.
It is a subsidized education.
Pay.
We are talking about it here because what we give in our pocket is more what the government gives.
Yeah.
It is in the quote that we are given free education. To me, I'm saying that if the government, the way I'm saying in quote, they have a copper somewhere where they can give the parent maybe free money. Even for food, because we are not prepared even for food for information.
Yeah.
Second, we will demand our money that we did not use. That is from January, February, and March when we closed the school earlier, because we don't know where they took our money, where they took our the food that they were supplied. Maybe they returned and they got the money. How they used it, that is subject to audit by the Parents Association to see whether our money was used. So in the real sense, we are seeing finances removes all over. The question that will ask you to just remove the finances, where the parents are always crying because of the finances.
Wow, I like that. Well, lastly, before we end this discussion, maybe a word to each and every parent out there who has maybe a child in primary or secondary education. What would you tell them, considering that now, according to the Ministry of Health, children are going back to school?
I usually like to tell them for parents, there was we call precautionary money.
Yeah.
Precautionary money is the money that you don't anticipate anything to come. Let's assume now the corona, parents should not say, I will not take back to the child belongs to the government.
Yes.
You should not say, I will not take the child to the school because I don't have money. Because there is what we call precautionary money for anticipating something that can happen without you are preparing. Like now what has happened? We were prepared in January.
Yeah.
Now something has happened, the COVID-19 has flattened. And the government don't want to resume. You will not tell the government, no, I will not take the child to the school, because what you need to know now from today and henceforth to the parents who are supposed to prepare themselves is now to look back. How do I prepare myself in terms of finances? Remember, some of the children, they have to go back to the uniform.
Yeah.
It's not only the school fees we are talking about, the uniform itself. Some of them, they have eaten for 6 months and they have become so fat. They cannot, not like Kobia now.
Yes.
Kobia is the smallest, but is the biggest person in Naivasha.
Yes.
But now, each children, including myself, they cannot wear the uniform they were wearing. They cannot wear the shoes they were wearing. Now, so parents should prepare themselves to go back to the pocket. But if the government will chip in, I'm assuring you, madam, we have no problem in reopening the school. But the challenge we are recommending let's talk about the primary. Why don't we start with the university level, technical schools, and then we go now to secondary schools, considering the candidates and the candidates who are doing. Instead, when we talk about secondary, you can stay with that child even for 7 years and go back to school.
Yes.
Even if they finish, when they go. Remember, we have distorted our children, including all the areas, by telling them you can do business. We were told you show your children what you do. Now already they have started touching the money. So we should prepare our children when they are going back. They have started complaining. They said they were prepared psychologically to go on to school in January. Now you are telling them.
Yes.
Remember Corona time, there are some who are in Form 4 and they're 18 years already, they have ID. Because if he is 18, he is already a Corona, he should take an ID. Then these children we are taking back them to school.
Yeah.
How do we prepare and sensitize them about the education? We have a lot of work to do, including parents and also teachers, to tell. Education is not preparation, it is life. That's what I used to tell the people when I'm talking to them. Because without education, the country cannot move on. Despite some people being educated, people, they don't earn a lot, they don't work. Those are just imaginations. But you can run a very big business. But you use the same professionals to do your business. So education is important. So you tell the parents from Sekese and other areas.
True.
They prepare them psychologically. If the ministry says we are going back in October or November, whatever the term will be starting, or the year will be starting, it will work. Even before, if we were told even before that now the term will be starting on January or December, that is where it will head. So we don't have the issues with the government where they want to start their term or their year. The issue is finances shouldn't be in place. No infrastructure, that's for the fact. People who are just go to Kwale. I've done elections in your country. Kwale, Kilifi have been there conducting elections, madam. I know those areas, the poor areas, they are not classes. Some they go to the trees. Are we going to distance them in the trees? When it rains, what is the effect? So, despite we are telling the parents, let's not cheat one another. Any parent who is a parent, including yourself, they are public school. Remember the private schools, they have closed. Most of them who are rented. And when you are talking about distance, some have just a 50 by 80 plot where they have been teaching this in Sekese and others. How do you tell them not to occupy more than that? We need to factor a lot of. We need to consider a lot of factors when we are talking about the opening of the school. There is somebody called Kimayo, chairman of the Parents Association. There are some issues we talked about the preparation of the students or of the parents. I agree with him totally, because he is our boss when he's on top there and we're on the ground, and we understand even the Act 2013 very well.
Yes.
Which is the institution never like implementing. Because when you are presenting the parents of the ground, you must understand, and that's why the recommendation, you cannot be either a parent in charge of the parents when you don't have a child in the primary or public or whatever. Because how do you get that information? Your child is outside the country, and now you are presenting the parents.
A parent of a child of a common mwananchi, what we call the Wanjikus hapa chini, you will not understand, as you say.
Wale wanaumia zaidi vile tunaongea sahi, na wale wataumia. The poor will remain poor and the rich will continue becoming rich. Why? Because these poor people are still not able. I sponsor some. I give back to the community, madam. CSR.
Yes.
So when I'm sponsoring this one, when you are telling me they are reopening tomorrow, and also I was not prepared for that, still that child may remain in the house because he will not go. Because of the school fees. Why don't they consider the way we have said with you, the school fee structure? They see how much can they chip in before we take back to. We don't want them to go, and then tomorrow we are told we are closing the schools because of
lack of fee or even Corona.
We don't know whether it is there or not. I know it is there because I know the areas that I got, but it is your own responsibility. Take your own responsibility.
Okay.
But now, why don't we try with the university Kwanza? wapate na corona kwanza kama iko instead of starting primary and other areas.
Yes.
Let's start the people who can be able to understand those areas. We open the institutions of our learning, their education, and then where we don't even have a lot of money. Those ones, they don't need money. When do you want to go to take the secondary where we are paying 53,000 again 60,000, which we don't have to now.
Okay.
So me, I'm saying we start from the top and then go to the bottom.
All right. Thank you so much. I get that. We start from the universities, then down, paka chekechea as time progresses and we gauge how things are. Thank you so much, Mr. Kobi. Unfortunately, we are out of time, but I'm really grateful that you shed some light. I know this is directly affecting the parents out there.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Also, I'm happy to have an interview with you.
Asante. On the question of today, Peter from Nyeri, you're asking, if the government declares an opening day, do parents have any choice? Well, unfortunately. Well, I'm Kamau and pray for me to get out of anxiety. Thank you so much, Kamau, for sending in your prayer request. We'll be praying together with you. And we have... Paris from Kabete is saying, I feel that exam-oriented curriculum in Kenya dictates how our schools learn here, how our schools and children learn here in Kenya. I think CS should sit down and rethink the direction he is taking his kids. I think the exam and completing education is in the forefront. I long for that day when teaching skills will be the first priority in our education system. I like that, Paris. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Vincent Mulinge and you're saying, Sarah, we are not ready. Ulisikia wapi wazazi wako na pesa za kulipa school fees? Asante for that response. Pastor Mackenzie, however, is saying, I am ready. We are fully prepared. That is by grace, Pastor. Asante sana. Well, we have also this guy and you're saying you're Evans Kulali from Huruma, Nairobi County. You show iko juu, and thank you for that compliment. And you sing about education. Wangoje until January next year, please. Judy, asante sana for tuning in today and for your response. I really appreciate. Now to other stories. The state will conduct a fresh census and establish a register of the communities in the Eastern Mau Forest Block with a view of regulating their settlement in the area. Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i said a fresh this word has refused to come. Adjudication. So he said a fresh adjudication of the settled area will begin immediately as the government endeavors to resolve the issue under a dedicated balance between the rights of the affected people and the conserving of the forest. He was speaking after a meeting with the community and religious leaders from the area at the Lake Naivasha Resort, where Dr. Matiang'i announced that a semi-multi-agency task team has been constituted to spearhead the process, which is expected to be conducted by December 11th this year.
The departure point is that we have agreed that we will try to accommodate everyone on that particular settlement so that there is no one who is left out. Then now we'll work on the mechanics of allocating or settling everyone, while at the same time also addressing the special requirements that came as a result of the court order from the East African Court of Justice. We will obey the order in the process as it is. So we will ensure that we set aside a property for the Ogiekas ordered by the court, and then at the same time work on resettling the others and ensuring that people have legit titles. The second and last point I would like to make on this is that we also have taken very drastic decisions, because we realize, and it's always good to be very sincere to our people, that some of the problems we are dealing with, honestly, have been brought about by some challenges in certain departments of government. You know, some work that was done in the past, a good number of people, even including public servants in various departments. I mean, my own interior, if I may start from there. You know, some people in my department, in the provincial administration, as it was then called, and now Ngao. And then a number of civil servants, for example, in the survey department and so on, who made several mistakes and caused some challenges that we are now having to deal with.
Well, in other news, Chief Justice David Maraga has written to President Uhuru Kenyatta advising him to dissolve Parliament over its inability to pass the two-third gender rule. CJ Maraga, in his unprecedented move, said that the Parliament has refused to comply with the High Court order to enact legislation required to implement the two-third gender rule for over 9 years now. This comes after women leaders in support of the Building Bridges initiative are continuing with the push for the greater inclusive of women in leadership in Baringo yesterday. And the women led by Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru held talks with Baringo Senator and KANU chairperson Gideon Moi at his home in Kabarak as the country gears up to receive the final BBI report.
Ladies are what we call the coalition of the like-minded. And we've discussed many issues, but especially pertaining to women issues, in particular in the BBI. I'm very happy to note that in the BBI, the issues which uplift the standards of living of women, and I've assured them of my personal support and our party's support. BBI is very, very important, and it's, for us it's important not only because of bringing the inclusivity, but the many factors inside it which will change the lives of Kenyans for the better.
There are various issues that as women we are continuing to lobby where BBI is concerned. One is the place of women, both in terms of leadership, the two-thirds gender rule, in all spheres of governance, not just in the public sector, but also in the private sector, and also all the other issues that affect women, because we know that the women are the ones who hold the society, and so matters that have to do with provision of water, of health care, and the importance of ensuring that those issues are represented at the leadership table, that when conversations are happening on BBI, that we're not losing fact of the things that affect women the most.
Well, a section of residents in the remote areas of Sok and Seker in West Pokot County have allegedly resorted to female genital mutilation and early forced marriage of young girls to get dowry, which helps them survive during this time of COVID-19. This was made public after over 100 vulnerable families in that area received income-generating donations worth 3.5 million Kenya shillings to empower and cushion them from the COVID-19 impacts and curb cases of female genital mutilation.
Sababu shule zilifungwa kwa sababu ya ugonjwa wa corona. Hii leo tumekuwa tukifanya kazi na wazee wa vijiji vyote vya hapa Sok, wakichagua zile boma ambazo hazijiwezi, na tumeweza kuchagua households 100 ambao wameweza kupata mbuzi hii leo kwa sababu ya uchumi wa boma, waweze kuweza kujisaidia kiuchumi, na inaenda pia iwasaidie watoto wale waweze wakiwa na kiteka uchumi, wanaweza saidia watoto wao wasiweze kukeketwa wala wasiweze kuozwa mapema. Bado kuna sehemu chache ambazo ukeketaji bado unaendelea, lakini tunashukuru kwa wakati huu. Tulikuwa tunatazamia kwamba wanaweza keketwa wengi, lakini hakuja kuwa na ukeketaji. Bado tunaendelea na kazi ya ujenzi wa mabweni ili watoto wetu wasichana waweze kupata mahali pa kulala, ili wasikue day scholars, wasiweze kuwa wanaenda nyumbani kila wakati kwa sababu watakingwa wakiwa shuleni.
Well, and now to some international stories. And over 170 cases of COVID-19 are being linked to a wedding that took place in the state of Maine in the U.S. last month. Now, 65 guests attended the August 7 wedding in a town that actually had no previous cases of COVID-19. And the health official says that face masks and distancing guidelines were ignored at that party that grew to the size of 100 people. And over a month later, the Maine Center of Disease Control determined that a singular event had resulted to 176 positive cases of COVID-19, including at a jail, at a church where the wedding officials is the pastor, and also at a rehabilitation and living center, and 7 people have so far died, none of whom even attended that wedding. Now, some of the residents were clearly angry at the event organizer, and here is an explanation of the deadly and dangerous consequences of the super spreader event.
The owners of the Big Moose Inn admit they messed up the head count. What began as a wedding reception of 65 quickly bloomed to 100, double Maine's indoor gathering limit of 50 people. From that one event where masks and distancing were ignored, Maine is now dealing with 176 new cases.
COVID-19 right now is not on the other side of the fence. It is in our yards.
What happened in Maine is what keeps health officials up at night, super spreader events that are hard to track. The epicenter of the Maine super spread is Millinocket, a tiny community untouched by COVID-19. Someone brought the virus to the wedding, and within days it spread to a jail, a nursing home, and a church where the wedding officiant is a pastor and noted anti-masker who has now blocked his social media. 7 people attached to that singular event have died so far, yet none attended the wedding.
The virus favors gatherings. It does not distinguish between happy events, like a wedding celebration, or sad farewells, like funerals.
There are some people who may think it's not going to happen to me, and that's the kind of attitude that leads to these events.
Well, this is a sad event that happened in Maine in the US just because of a party, a wedding party. Then we have 7 people dead up to now. This is a call to action for all of us. We should not relax just because our numbers are going down. Be vigilant. Take care of yourself, take care of your family members, ensure you follow the guidelines that have been given by the Ministry of Health, because we still need you here tomorrow. So take care of yourself. And thank you for tuning in to This Is The Day. Send in your prayer requests and also your praise reports, because Prayer Circle is coming in next. And tomorrow morning, we have Jam 316 with Pastor James Okumu. You do not want to miss out on the weekly challenge that we are having. Want to know more about that? Tune in tomorrow on Jam 316. But for now, from me and the team, it's a good night. See you tomorrow.
For this and more of our shows, log on to www.familymediaonline.com to enjoy a wide variety of programs, from current affairs to testimonials and features, pastoral and inspirational shows, kids entertainment, and so much more. Also stream live on www.familymedia.tv.